Hey everybody, Steve Billman here. Thanks for joining me today. Hey, today I'm going to deconstruct a tune called The Beast, which is off the Odd Dogs debut album Beneath the Surface. Now, we did one video on this already between myself, Jeff Miley, and Ralph Humphrey, but we just basically talked about the overall concept, the rhythmic concept of the song. And I would recommend, if you guys haven't seen that, that's up and running. So I would check that out as well because, like I said, we get into detail rhythmically of sort of how the song works. But today, what I want to do is get more specifically in the bass part. So the bass part is pretty much the driving force behind the song. And as a matter of fact, this is what I wrote first, was the complete bass part, and then Jeff had come up with the melody for it. So what's simple about this song is that it is a blues. So it's a simple 1-4-5 blues progression. It's in the key of E. But what's complex about the song is, like we stated in the video prior to this, that the rhythm is pretty complex in this particular tune. So the time signatures that we're going to deal with are pretty straight ahead. They're 4/4, 3/4, and 2/4. So they're not that complex. There's not that much to, as far as difficulty, there's not that much to the time signatures. But the difficulty comes in the breaking up of the quarter notes. So each quarter note in the 4/4, 3/4, and 2/4 time signature is going to be broken up into quintuplets. And simply a quintuplet equals 5 notes per beat. So there will be 5 evenly spaced notes in each of the beats. Whether we're in 4/4, whether we're in 3/4, or whether we're in 2/4. Each quarter note is broken up into quintuplets. And even beyond that, each quintuplet is grouped either in groups of 4, 3, or 2 notes. So not only is it based off of a quintuplet, but the quintuplets are then phrased into different groupings of either 4, 3, or 2. Okay, so basically everything that you're going to hear is going to be based off of this quintuplet. So the guitar part, the melody is based off the quintuplet. The comping part is based off the quintuplet on the keyboard. And also the bass part is going to be based off this broken quintuplet concept. All right. So the first thing we need to do is just identify the note value of a quintuplet. So for this tune, the record tempo is around 57 beats per minute for the quarter note. But obviously, like we've done before, this is the learning, practicing tempo. We're going to do it slower. So right now I'm at 52 beats per minute. Now that seems really slow, and even the 57 seems really slow. But because it's based off this broken quintuplet, the tempo actually feels a little bit brighter, feels a little bit faster. So you'll start to feel it more as you practice it. But again, today I'm just going to deconstruct it and kind of show it to you. And then from there, you can work on it, and eventually you'll be able to play the song in tempo. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is just establish the quarter note and establish where the quintuplet is. Okay, so again, they're going to be 5 notes spaced evenly within each beat. Okay, so that's the quintuplet. Now to count it, I like to use the South Indian way of counting. And I don't claim to be an expert on South Indian music, but I've studied a little bit, and it's really helped me when I'm dealing, sorry about that. It's really helped me when I'm dealing with artificial rhythms like this, or when I'm dealing with polyrhythms. So this is something that I'm going to do in videos coming up. I'm going to break down the counting and show you exactly how to do it. But this is what a lot of my music is based off of. It's based off of these different groupings and these different these different Indian counting systems. So the first thing I'm going to do is tell you guys the group of 5, how I count it. So I count it simply Dade Gina Dom. So Dade Gina Dom. It's 5 syllables. That equals quintuplet. Dade Gina Dom. All right. So if I go back to the click, and again, we're just trying to find the quintuplet right now. Dade Gina Dom, 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 Dade Gina. And you notice, right, that I'm not playing, I'm not doing like a slow 2 and then fast 3, or all of the notes have to be of equal distance apart, right? So you really want to spend some time with the click, just trying to make the grouping of 5 consistent. And again, I like to count it. Dade Gina Dom, 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 Dade Gina Dom. And you guys, even for me, this is difficult. And as much as I've played this, there are times where I, like even in the beginning there, I was a little bit ahead. It takes practice and it takes time, so don't be discouraged. But sit with the metronome and just practice those groups of 5s, and then practice counting them as well with the syllable. If you use a different syllable, that's perfectly fine. It doesn't have to be the one I'm using. I'm not saying it's the best or anything. It's just the one I use. So if you have a different one, that's fine. Okay, so that's the basic of just the quintuplet. Now what we need to do is we need to find out, we're going to break the quintuplet now into different groupings. Like I said, there's going to be some grouped in 4 notes, there's going to be some grouped in 3 notes, and there's going to be some grouped in 2 notes. Okay? So let me show you, basically, let me show you the bass lines, and then we'll apply it to the metronome to make sure that it's lining up with where the click is, okay? But it's a pretty basic bass line. It's a, pretty straight ahead rock kind of line. Remember too, you guys, I'm playing a 5-string, but my low E is on the bottom, E, A, D, G, and C. So don't let that confuse you. Okay, so basically I'm playing low E, and then a high E. And then I'm playing low E, D, low E, C sharp, low E, D. Okay? So those are my notes. All right? And this grouping is based off of 4 notes. But what's strange about it is that I'm only playing 3 notes, pretty much. So for this first E chord. But there's a rest in there that's acting as the 4th note. So when you hear me play, after each one of those notes, there's a little bit of a pause. And that's one of the 4 notes that I'm using. It's actually a rest. Okay? All right. So with that in mind, then, if we try to attach that to the click, again, you always want to start by finding the quintuplet. Okay? So that's what we're going to look for first. There it is. Here we go. Okay, so one thing that you notice is that I'm not always lining up with the click in terms of, I'm not always resolving on each downbeat. Sometimes I'm going over the clicks, and then eventually I come back to where the 1 is. This is what you get when you create these artificial sort of rhythms, taking the quintuplet and I'm phrasing it in groups of 4s. But it's a great effect, and it takes a little bit of practice, so obviously give yourself some time. One of the things that helps me in sort of keeping track and making sure that I'm not speeding up or slowing down the rhythm, because that's one of the challenges you're going to have, is to be able to make sure, because we're not playing on every downbeat, to make sure that your time is in sync with the click. So one of the things I listen for is beat 2 of the first measure. That second beat is going to land on my high E. Okay, so it's not the downbeat, but in other words, the downbeat of the measure. It's not beat 1, it's beat 2, but it is going to line with the click on that high note, that second note. So again, if I play it, I'm always going to line with the click with that high E. So that's one way that I can make sure that I'm in tempo, if you will. Okay. So as you learn it, as you're working on it, make sure you're listening for that and make sure that you're able to hear that. All right. So that's the 1 chord. When we go to the 4 chord, in this case it's A7 because we're in the key. We're starting with an E blues. Here are the notes, and this time signature now is 3/4. So in the E chord it was 4/4. Now on the A chord we're doing 3/4, and I'm going to play a G, hammering onto an A, and then an open A, F sharp, hammering onto a G, an open A, E to F sharp, open A, and then the first measure of the 2-bar A chord, I'm going to play D to E. And this grouping is going to be 4, 4, 4, and 3. So this is, again, the first part is 4, rest, rest, rest. That's the 4, and then the 3 will be, and then we go back to the phrase again. We do the same thing. And then the last 3 is going to be different because we're going back to the E chord. So I play open A, G, F sharp, and then that leads me back to the E. Okay? So, all right, if I do that with a click, 1, 2, 3. There's the downbeat of the next section. Okay, let's try that one more time. So again, first establish, I can't talk and do that same. First establish where the 5 is. Here we go. And that takes me right back to that 1 chord, the E7 chord. All right, so again, the phrasing on that is going to be 4, 4, 4, and 3 for both of those measures on the A7 chord. Remember that we're not changing the speed of the quintuplet. This is really important. The speed of the quintuplet is not changing. We're just changing the grouping. And that's why these rhythms will work out, because we're still just playing quintuplets through the whole thing. We're just regrouping the notes, okay? It's really important to understand that. All right, so now we're going to go to the 5 chord, and in the key of, or on an E blues, it's a B7 chord. So we're going to go from B7 back to E7, and we're going to do that a couple times. This particular chord is going to be based in 2/4. All right, so again, it's still based on the quintuplet, but now the time signature is 2/4. All right, so let me show you that that bass line. So we're going to play So the notes B, B, A, B, D, and then the same thing on A, G, G, A, C, okay? And that grouping is going to be 3, 2, 3, 2. So again, you can see that the quintuplet is staying the same, but we're using these different groupings of the notes to change up sort of the feel, you know, of these different patterns. And if you notice that this turnaround section, the 5 chord, it almost feels like a straight shuffle, but it's sort of a demented shuffle because there's something strange about it. All right. So if this is a click, again, I got to find where the 5 is. 1, 2. Break. At the end of it, then there's a lick. Okay, so that B part it happens twice. One, 2, 3. So the lick, it's just a basic, again, I like to keep the blues part of it very basic, very simple, and let the rhythmic part be the complex part of it. Again, I like to put those two things together, really simple and really complex. It just makes for interesting music to me. So the lick, I'm playing an E, you know, D, B, and A, and then A, G, E. So it's just the basic kind of a blues lick, all right? But if we do it with the click, let me go back for some reason. I think it got turned off. Sorry about that. Okay, so again, if that's the quarter note, I want to find the quintuplet first. Do it again. One more time. So again, the idea is that the syncopation is creating this tension. It's still 4/4, 3/4, and 2/4. So the time signatures are not weird. We're not playing some complex time signature. But what's cool about it is because of these different groupings and the way we're breaking up the quintuplet, it feels odd. And that sort of that odd feeling is creating this tension. And it almost feels normal. Like I said, it's almost feeling like just a shuffle, but there's something twisted about it. And that's the cool thing about what we're doing with these quintuplets, okay? So let me do it from the 5 chord. I'll just do the last part of it so you can hear how it works. 1, 2. There's your downbeat of the last note. Okay, so the thing I would say is take each part, break them up, try to work on them with the click, and then try to piece the whole thing together at the end, okay? So this will take time, you guys. Just sit with it. Don't be discouraged. First start with just that grouping of 5. Try to feel where the quintuplet is before you go into the part of trying to break it up. That's a really important element as well, okay? And look for some other videos I'm going to be posting where I'm going to be getting into these kind of different groupings and the Indian counting. So that's going to help you as well. Okay. So thank you, everybody. I hope this was informative, and it was really great to be with you. And I will see you then on the next video. Thanks a lot.